We have some breaking news from last night. I'm here with co-host Craig Pasta Jardula, and it looks like in the middle of the night into the morning hours, Friday the 13th, breaking news, Israel strikes Iran. The U.S. government and Western media are looking to manufacture public consent for World War III. All of this happening in real time. We know the playbook. We know the playbook of the media. We know the playbook of the government and the 6D chess. We'll get into some of that. People still hoping that Trump's trying to figure a way through this or has some master plan. But guess what?
Throw that disclaimer out quickly there, Matt Weinglass. Yeah, get that out there first, buddy.
I got to put it out there. But hey, let's just understand the system we're in. And the more we learn more and more, the curtain keeps getting pulled back further and further. Don't pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. It doesn't matter who's in office. They have absolutely nothing they can do about this because we have no power. We're completely controlled by Israel. We've been that way.
You think things would have been better with Kamala, Matt? Come on, please.
Well, she would have offered us all. She would have offered us all a drink, and we could have done a shot before we entered into officially World War III. But let's look at the first thing we saw breaking out. And again, this is when we were trying to figure out how to even do our show, and then we saw this happen. This is the breaking story of what Israel just basically decided to do, seemingly on their own. But we know it wasn't on their own. It's okay. Here we go. Here we go. Breaking. Here's the first strike that happened to the capital of Iran, Tehran, last night. And of course, we had some images come in right away, and they're saying the first death. And this is just horrible, but it fits the narrative beautifully of everything. And I say beautifully in a very, very sick and twisted way. Look at the first image, the first thing we get. There you go. Residential buildings being blown up. Of course, we had a kid that was killed right away. I wasn't able to capture that screen grab, but the kid that was killed. These are all innocent people, and of course, we know the game plan from the West is that if anybody in Iran, anybody in Lebanon, anybody in Palestine, anybody in Yemen, it doesn't matter if they get killed and they're innocent civilians. They're not actually innocent civilians. They're actually terrorists, or they're being being used as human shields by the terrorists. So that's why we couldn't help it. Or there's some other thing going on that we're going to find out later because the IDF is investigating why those citizens got killed. But again, it's the same story every time. And then this is the more important part. The mainstream putting this garbage out. Somebody had to correct it, but this is real. Before that was put out, it says Israel launches preemptive strikes. That's the key word, preemptive strikes against Iran, which we know completely unprovoked. But they're setting the precedent of how we keep in the
Maddie, we got to kill them before they kill us.
We got it. Yes, and this is the Bush Cheney mantra from the early 2000s.
You're either with us, Matt, or you're with the terrorists.
Yeah. Exactly. And then look, Fee put this out that, of course, right away, breaking an Iranian jet took off and report now that Iran has launched Fatah missiles against Israel. This was almost immediately after the retaliation of Israel's attack. Now, and this is key, Iran has the right to defend itself, right? Well, if you ask any Western media pundit, no, they actually don't, and they are the aggressors. Here is the firing back that was captured. And this is I want to say a flex on Iran, but this is just there's a lot bigger attacks to come. This was the initial one coming out almost immediately. And now notice in unison, our elected leaders, doesn't matter what side of the aisle, immediately put out this garbage. This is how you start the manufacturing of consent. These type of tweets.
Rick Scott, please join me in praying for Israel tonight and our U.S. personnel in the Middle East. Not like we should be there anyways. Rick Scott from Florida, but you're here. Yep. Scott Holly.
We got some more. Oh.
All right. You got Gary Palmer from, where's he from? Please join me in praying for Israel tonight. America will always stand with Israel. Oklahoma Attorney General Genter Drummond, please join me in praying for the safety and security of Israel and the protection of Americans and American troops throughout the regions. I mean, just think about this. Like, why, what, I mean, other than the biblical part, and I guess that's what mostly the draw is for people in Oklahoma. Why would they stand with Israel thinking in the South? I guess it is the Christian Israel belief connect. I mean, this is like a religious war going on partially. Yeah. I mean, that's the way a lot of people will perceive it, as they'll be looking into Iran for the first time ever, not understanding anything of its history, not knowing anything how it was overthrown. I'm talking about the majority of people in America as they are hearing this going on, right?
Yeah.
And wondering why the cat's out of the bag. Well, why are we on high alert? Oh, you didn't know? Please join me in praying for Israel. Join me in praying for Israel. You didn't know that we're bought and paid for by Israel?
Yeah. It's
the occupation, baby.
They're waiting for the text to come in to say, okay, put out that praying post needs to go out now, guys. Come on. Do it in your own words so it doesn't look like a copy and paste. But we need to hear pray, and we need to hear Israel. Get it out there. Get it out there now. Not a joke. That's literally what happens. That's how you align it. That's how you get you manufacture this consensus. You get the same message out over and over and gets in people's heads. They do this with every issue, but primarily with war and with the war machine. Why haven't we learned our lesson yet? Yeah. Why haven't we learned our lesson yet? These two clowns is a nice word to call these two, but that's a little just idea of what
payasos.
Yeah. These are the worst of the worst, these two. And yes, of course they're celebrating right now because this is what they've wanted for years. Now we have this problem. Of Trump. Now, look, we know, you guys that watch the shows, you watch our shows, you know that we're not sitting here hoping that Trump's got this secret plan. I'm going to tell you guys, anybody's still holding on hope for that, it doesn't effing matter if he's even got good intention. It's not going to happen. There is no plan because we have no choice. We are the ones, we are the aggressors along with Israel, lockstep. It's not going to change. It doesn't matter what tweet goes out or what comment goes out here, what other contradiction thing happens over there. Some people were saying immediately that Trump was trying to stay out of it and lie. So people were willing to admit he was lying when he said, we didn't know anything about it. And they thought, well, that's a good lie. That means he's trying to be careful and walk, very carefully, tread lightly. But inevitably, this was going to happen. Here we go. This is on behalf of Trump. What's going out on Fox today?
See, I just spoke to President Trump. One thing, the president was aware of Israel's action before it happened. There were no surprises here. But he gave me a quote. He said, Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb. We're hoping to get back to the negotiating table. We'll see. There are several people in leadership in Iran that will not be coming back. Now, the president, I know, has spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu several times in recent days. As I mentioned before, the Trump administration reached out to a key Middle Eastern ally beforehand to acknowledge this strike was going to happen, but that the U.S. was not involved in the strike, but the goal still to get Iran back to the negotiating table. There was this building frustration about what Iran was doing at that negotiating table with Steve Witkoff, the Middle East envoy. He was scheduled again for Sunday. Looks like, obviously, that may change the dynamic there, whether that moves forward at all. Depends on what Iran does in response. The president told me he's, looking to see what the retaliation may be. CENTCOM is on high alert. The U.S. will will help defend Israel if needed. And as I mentioned in the last time we talked, the Iron Dome has been replenished in Israel in recent weeks. So there's still this hope in the president's sense and the people around him that this changes the dynamic for Iran and that this does not launch into what will be a back and forth. But we just saw the post from the Supreme Leader saying that this is the beginning of a major retaliation, and that Israel, in his words, has sealed its fate.
So, of course, there's retaliation. They're acting as if that's something that's only a crazy lunatic dictatorship would do anything like retaliate. That's insane that they didn't know that was going to happen, and now they're pretending that, oh my God, we didn't see that coming. Well, this is happening right now. I just got that. This is right out of Tel Aviv. Boom. That's a half hour ago. Right now.
That's in Tel Aviv.
That's in Tel Aviv right now.
Play that again. That's so that's crazy. Where did they hit?
Where?
Yeah.
We have to look closer to see where the.
That looks like a lot of residential people.
That's a lot of residential there. This is the most congested part of Israel.
Can I say something really quickly? Let me point to a few things that we want to, point to. Obviously, he said, in that clip, he said that Iran can't have a nuclear bomb, which is code for go ahead, Israel, you can bomb them now. And he also said he knew about this one, right? The reason why he had to go put that out there because of the crazy blunder or quagmire or just how stupid we look with the Ukraine-Russia situation. Really, if you just want to look at it at face value, how terrible Donald Trump looks with that whole situation. Like there's no way the Russians feel they can do any type of deal with anybody. They hit one of the legs of the nuclear triad, for crying out loud. Nuclear deals in which Russia has a pact with America to keep their bombers out in the open so they can see, each side can see. And they're going to attack that leg, and then Donald Trump's going to act like he didn't know or he did know or whatever. But this time they had to put it out there for it to be known that he knows, right? He knew about this one here, that Israel was going to go ahead and attack Iran. And let me say to the person who's saying, some of those people were saying, Matt, that Donald Trump, is staying out of it and stuff like that. Let me tell you, in the best Sam Elliott impression I can do, son, he's not just staying in it. You're funding it. You're buying it. You're paying for it. So this presidency that now exists, the Donald Trump presidency, and allowing them to do that and saying, a president should be, don't you dare. You got your Gaza situation going. You got part of Syria. You got your Golan Heights now. I've given you everything you think. Don't you dare bomb Iran whatsoever. No, you're not doing it. But now, this just shows you this presidency, when people are still trying to say it's the lesser of two evils. No, it's not. I would rather deal with the woke fucking bullshit of the left and their awful, stupid things where they're trying to interject the state controlling your children. Because what do Americans do? Smart Americans do. I'm not playing. I'm pulling my kid out. That's it. At least they can defend themselves. This right here, he's dragged us into one of the worst situations. I mean, when people talk about World War III, and some of these other people want to go living under these bunkers, Matt, they're playing with fire right now. What's going on? This is crazy right now.
Yeah.
This is bonkers, and it's really intriguing in some ways because this isn't the Iran that was overturned in 1953 when the CIA in their first coup operation, when they formed their boys club called the CIA, was to take out Mossadegh. They let it happen. They had the Shah there for many years. There was a revolution. But now Iran, they got guns, right? And I just in the small sense of they got guns over there, right? And it's this is crazy. Donald Trump presidency meant to be handed off, disaster. The ruling class is playing you. There's no such thing as the lesser of two evils. They are taking us into a Malthusiast, techno-feudist, fucking techno-feudalist society. It's ridiculous. And y'all are walking right in and supporting it. But Donald Trump!
No, guys, you have your blinders on if you're like Trump taking on the deep state stuff. You're still on that. You've missed the full picture of 7 wars in 5 years. We are the most stubborn empire of all time, but I think that's the idea, is empires are stubborn. They go out kicking and screaming. That's the way it works. This is our kicking and screaming, but we will not give up that seventh war. That is Iran. We've been waiting to do that. Netanyahu, we've been trying to get this last one done for years. It's the hardest one. And like you said, Craig, it's the one with the most power, the most to fight back with. But make no mistake, this was the last one on that list. Wesley Clark warned us about this. The 7 wars in 5 years. It didn't happen in 5 years, but here we are. And they're not going to rest till this one's done. And here we're in the middle of it right now. And this, as far as pretending that Iran wasn't going to retaliate, is nuts. This is I know some of this is tongue in cheek, but are these incoming? This from 1984. Are these incoming missile strikes or a map of Israel's pedophiles? I can never tell. So a little tongue in cheek in the middle of the chaos. I thought that was a fun
one. Actually, that's really fire. That's good.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. 1984. The official 1984.
Yeah. So that's our breaking news. We'll obviously keep up on this story as we go. But with Don DeBar coming in, we'll have a more inside take. So we'll get back to the story in a little bit. Before that happens, man, I think we should get into some of the censored news that maybe people skipped over this week. Do you want to do it right now? Do you want to take let's take a breath?
Do whatever you want to do. Let's take a little crack at something. Come on.
Let's take a crack at something. Okay. I'm going to set this up right now. Yeah, we did have.
It is the eve of June 14th. No King's Day, my brother.
It is.
Sponsored by Walmart. Remember, if you come on in on No King's Day, you get 20% off.
Oh, man. Okay,
it's
let me set this up.
Soros in the street. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on.
Oh, by the way, before we get into top censored here, I want to say, I don't know if you might have missed it, but I revealed to my audience that you actually won the bet about Greta
I didn't
Thunberg.
see that. Why would you do that without me?
Because I thought you noticed that when she came back and that clip of her interview saying we were treated so horribly. And I was thinking, the first thing I was thinking was, why are you not saying this is a scam? We were set up. And it was like she said everything perfectly that'll keep everybody in their camps and not change a single new mind. And I talked to Kit Cabello on his show about that as well. And I said, hey, he said it's about shining light on it. I go, give me one person that changed their mind after this stunt. Nobody. Everybody got more angry. So it didn't actually do anything. And by the way, the Gazans never got their aid anyways. So if you look at it that way,
get close and it was like all picked up. It was just like one of those things. It's like, like I said, they've done that before. The flotilla for real. So now this time it's easy. Now it's like, okay, now we just pick them up over here. And then we put her in the worst seat on the plane going back from Israel. Did you see that? They put her in the seat right by the bathroom door. And I mean, they let her take a commercial flight. If this is not a fucking stunt, Israel was not threatened, was not fearful of Greta Thunberg, whatever. Greta PSYOP. Greta narrative management. They weren't fearful of her flotilla, Matt. So
yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Look, I know a lot of people got upset. In fact, I think a lot of Kit's audience got really upset with me. They were really upset
because here it is. It's all about the. It's all about the issue. It's all about the message. It's never about the person.
Yeah.
In fact, if a certain person clings on to it, you got to say, "Nah, get the fuck out of here." Somebody else.
Yeah.
Greta's that person. Greta should never, ever be trusted again. She's not a leader. She's not nothing. She's not inspiral. She's an actress in the real world. Good for her.
Yeah. Okay. I think we got it. It's time to do some.
What did I win?
Yeah. Let's do
I won, but what did I win? How much?
What did you win? I think you. Okay. So if you play back the tape, I think you said something like, I think you just said $5 or something. I didn't actually agree, but I will say that by me not saying no, that was me agreeing because that was me accepting it we'll
double or nothing on something. We'll find out, down in the in the future. So we'll be okay.
Or we could just change the $5 to a beer, and I got the next round when we get back together, man. I could do it that way, or whatever. Either way, the next bet or whatever, we'll figure it out.
The next red glass of red wine. I don't know, whatever.
But I will say this: you were right But I still hold my ground on there's a time that you have to say, let's see what happens. And I think that I still believe that I was in the right to be like, we don't know. Let's see how this ends, and then we'll see. So
yeah.
I'm still going to be that.
If Greta Thunberg was serious about the issues, you wouldn't hear her lead. You hear her being a part of something where she had built a relationship with other organizers who trust her that she's really trying to get something done. You know what I'm saying? When she's the poster child of something, immediately you know she's being exploited and she's just the actress. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying nobody doesn't have a chance. I don't know what type of, level of controlled opposition she is or how much she's bought or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's we never know. And we want to see people do the best, but it's, you know what I'm saying? Usually when it's about them and their ego and they're the ones being highlighted, that's when we get in trouble. Now, it is the ruling class and the social engineers taking advantage of the fact that Americans, we want heroes.
Yeah.
Right. Even though Tina Turner told them, we don't need another hero. No, we do. We like our heroes. We like our leaders.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then we have like little panic attacks when they don't do the thing that we want them to do. But we don't get mad at them. We get mad at anybody calling it out. And we go, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Right. So we've been there with the Bernie stuff. We've been there. And we see people dealing with that right now with Trump. But yeah, just guys, just lesson for life. Stop the hero worshiping. It'll do you much better when it's time to analyze something in an honest way. Just stop the hero worshiping, and we'll all be better off. Yeah.
Once again, now if you're a populist right person, okay, that's it. Line. We need to lead the charge to make sure that there is no Palantir contract, that is withdrawn, and that data will not be collected and shared amongst other agencies. As patriots, go take to the streets and go do that. You know what I'm saying? That should be done. But they're not doing that. You have people like Laura Loomer literally going, oh, we need to take Palantir down to LA and fix the fucking immigrant problem. Yeah. This neo-xenophobia out there. I mean, it's ridiculous to the nth degree. Laura Loomer, right, against the Great Reset and the Fourth Industrial Revolution, ushering in Palantir. People like Robert Barnes did it before. I mean, it's just bonkers. It's bonkers. It's everything you said you're against. And that's the thing. Oh, Biden couldn't get that done. Kamala Harris couldn't get that done.
Yeah.
The Republicans would have went crazy. And the independents out there would have backed them. And the libertarians would have been there. There's no way. Because they went to the constituents' houses and say, you're not going to let this happen. But under Donald Trump, come right in. Sad, crazy. People wake up.